Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next hour. Cambodia and Thailand agree for ceasefire talks after days of cross-border fighting. India issues advisory for its citizens and hopes both sides will take measures for a cessation of hostilities. Donald Trump pushes to end the ongoing conflict. Amid calls for Israel to let more aid into Gaza, its military makes an airdrop of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts with the people of the country and a broad and monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat today at 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time. And in sports, Koneru Humpy and Divya Deshmukh draw in Game 1 of FIDE Women's Chess World Cup Finals. Summit clash continues on Sunday. After 3 days of fighting between Cambodia and Thailand along their borders, the two leaders of the Southeast Asian nations have agreed to meet immediately to quickly work out a ceasefire as claimed by US President Donald Trump. Trump said he had spoken to Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet and Thailand's acting Prime Minister Phumtham Vechayachai and warned them that he would not make trade deals with either if the border conflict continued. Whereas Thailand's acting Prime Minister thanked Donald Trump and said Thailand agrees in principle to have a ceasefire in place but would like to see sincere intention from the Cambodian side. Cambodia's Defence Ministry spokeswoman also called on the international community to condemn Thailand's aggression and to demand that it stop its brazen acts against the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Cambodia continues to call on the international community to join it in condemning Thailand's aggression and to demand that Thailand immediately stop its brazen acts against Cambodia's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Meanwhile, India's Ministry of External Affairs said that India is closely monitoring the situation. The official spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said that India is closely monitoring the situation along the border between Cambodia and Thailand. Spokesperson added that India has close and friendly relations with both the countries and hopes that both sides will take measures for a cessation of hostilities and prevention of further escalation. Ministry has also released helpline number of the Embassy of Thailand and Cambodia for any assistance. All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre has more information on this. He is joining us live from New Delhi. Akshay, the leaders of Cambodia and Thailand have agreed to meet for the ceasefire. Tell us what's the latest from the ground.
Well, the hostilities are still there as far as the two countries are concerned. There are tensions still on the 817 kilometer of land border between the two countries, and the contested area that has led to this conflict still remains a flashpoint between the two countries. But the situation is more complex than that, and it's also again, like many of the conflicts that are in the global south region, especially stems from its colonial past. So in 1953, we have to go all the way back to understand the border conflict. So in 1953, it was France that was ruling Cambodia, or rather Cambodia was a colony of France till then. So when the land borders were drawn by the French people, they were done similar to what has been done by almost all the colonial powers around the world. Leaving these kind of land borders that are disputed, taking no local inputs as far as drawing these borders are concerned, and then leaving the countries of former colonies to fight amongst each other over the kind of borders and the land that that has been divided irrationally by the colonial powers, and that is a point that has been argued when the talks for a ceasefire are coming, because it's not really a fault of either Cambodia or Thailand for this faulty line, but the French colonial powers that had left this kind of a line, which was not for which there was no consultation done at the local level, and the lines were drawn erratically by the then former colonial master of Cambodia. And now we are seeing the implications on the ground. So, the death toll has crossed 30 mark. That includes both the civilians and military. Continuous rocket exchanges are taking place between the two countries, but we all know that the military of Thailand is much more advanced than Cambodia in terms of number, in terms of armament, in terms even of allies and geopolitical power. As well as the soft power that it has. So it's not never about an equal conflict that's taking place, but the kind of tension that we are seeing is similar to the conflict that started, several years back between Ukraine and Russia. So something of that sort. And while there are now indications that a ceasefire talk will continue, but this is a point that we have to remind our viewers that has seen these kind of conflicts time and again since the incorrect borders were drawn. So perhaps a real look has to be taken to that aspect as well. That how exactly the two countries are going to share the border and how they're going to live peacefully together, especially given the fact that contestations remain on the ground.
Actually, also, how have both Thailand and Cambodia responded to the US involvement? Are they welcoming this external mediation?
Well, yes, in a way, Thailand has accepted. Cambodia also is stating that they would also like to, go ahead with a sort of a ceasefire, because Cambodia, especially given the fact that its military is much smaller than Thailand, has been hoping for a ceasefire for some time now. So there is hope that there will be a ceasefire, but it remains to be seen that how it will be implemented and a permanent solution will be found between the two countries.
Very quickly, Akshay, also, what key issues are the leaders likely to focus on to ensure an immediate and lasting halt to the hostilities? And also, what are the next steps if the ceasefire talks are successful?
Well, that's all speculative, Abhishek, so we will not be able to comment on that as of yet, but the situation remains tense, and ceasefire as of now is looking a possible or rather a viable option, but it remains to be seen that how a permanent solution will be found, because that will only depend on the prerogative and the decisions that will be taken by the leadership of the two countries, because there is yet no clarity on no clarification coming in from them that they have found a solution, because everything is speculative right now. So they will have to find a solution to sharing the areas that are contested, at least allowing some sort of arrangement to allow people to cross over and reach those areas, perhaps the temples that are revered, all of that. But as now permanent solution is concerned, there is no response to that from both the countries.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Now, Russia's defense ministry announced on Saturday that its forces have captured 2 more villages in eastern Ukraine, including one in the Dnipropetrovsk region, where Moscow says its troops have begun to make advances. The Russian defense ministry said its forces have taken control of Zeleny High in Donetsk region, that is a major stronghold of Ukrainian formations, and Malivka, a village just inside the Dnipropetrovsk region. Ukrainian forces haven't confirmed the loss but reported intense fighting in the area, whereas Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in an assessment of the situation, said that the logistics hub of Pokrovsk remained the focal point of the conflict. He also said Ukrainian forces had recorded successful actions in Sumy region on Ukraine's northern border, where Russian forces have established a foothold in recent weeks. Now, Russia will launch direct passenger flights from Moscow to North Korea's capital Pyongyang on Sunday as the 2 former communist bloc allies move to improve ties following Russia-Ukraine conflict. The start of regular flights between the capitals for the first time since the mid-1990s follows the resumption of Moscow-Pyongyang passenger rail service, a 10-day journey in June. Russia's civil aviation authority, Rosavitsaya, has granted Nordwind Airlines permission to operate flights between Moscow and Pyongyang twice a week. Earlier, the only direct air route between Russia and North Korea has been flights by North Korean carrier Air Koryo to Vladivostok in Russia's Far East 3 times a week. Now, Israel said on Saturday that it airdropped humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip as thousands of Palestinians face the threat of widespread famine. The Israel Defense Forces will implement a humanitarian pause in several population centers across the Gaza Strip beginning Sunday morning and lasting until the evening, according to senior Israeli officials. In a statement, the Israeli Defense Forces said it has begun a series of actions aimed at improving the humanitarian response in the territory and to refute the false claims of deliberate starvation in the Gaza Strip. Israel also said it has let enough food into Gaza and accuses the United Nations of failing to distribute it, while the United Nations said it is operating as effectively as possible under Israeli restrictions. The announcement came amid calls for Israel to let more aid into Gaza and amid warnings of mass starvation. And Israeli forces intercepted Handala, a Gaza-bound ship with activists bound for Gaza on Saturday, according to the FFC and Israeli Foreign Ministry. Israel's Foreign Ministry confirmed in a statement on X that the Israeli Navy has stopped the vessel Navarn from illegally entering the maritime zone of the coast of Gaza using the Handala's original name. The vessel is safely making its way to the shores of Israel. All passengers are safe, the statement continued. The activists' broadcast showed them sitting on deck, holding their hands up and whistling the Italian anti-fascist song, Bella Ciao, as the soldiers took control of the vessel. Earlier, the Handala ship had been on course to try to break an Israeli naval blockade of Gaza and bring a small quantity of humanitarian aid to the territory's Palestinian residents. Time now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. EU Chief von der Leyen heads to Scotland for trade talks with Donald Trump. Taiwan recalls campaign fizzles in a setback to its president. And 11 injured in stabbing at Michigan Walmart. Details after the break.
Let's meet people who are turning local challenges into creative opportunities and showing us that being resourceful isn't just smart, it might be the only way forward.
Right now we have close to 150 species that we are growing, actively trying to find out places where we can plant. And then we do the planting and then also take care of.
We are also working to clean up and desilt rivers to restore their natural flow. These are water conservation, sustainable agriculture, and better waste management.
We want to move away from a globalized, centralized system which can function as a network and compete with the large companies.
Our motto is that all the farmers should switch to millet farming and nutritious food should reach people.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Moving on to trade talks now. President Donald Trump and EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen are meeting on Sunday in Scotland in a decisive push to resolve a month-long transatlantic trade standoff with the US leader, putting the chances of a deal at 1 in 2. The clock is ticking, with Trump vowing to hit dozens of countries with punitive tariffs unless they hammer out a pact with Washington by August 1st, with the EU facing an across-the-board levy of 30%. Von der Leyen's European Commission, negotiating on behalf of EU's 27 countries, has been pushing hard for a deal to salvage a trading relationship worth an annual $1.9 trillion in goods and services. Brussels has coordinated closely with European capitals, whose diplomats are expected to meet swiftly to give their blessing to any deal struck at leader level, if indeed Trump and von der Leyen see eye to eye. While the European Commission said Thursday it believed a deal was in reach. And deepening nuclear submarine partnership, Australia and Britain signed a new historic 50-year treaty on Saturday. The Geelong Treaty will underpin submarine programs for 50 years, including the development of the SSN AUKUS. It is expected to be worth up to $27 billion to Britain in exports over the next 25 years and create tens of thousands of jobs. It will also see increased port visits to Western Australia by Britain's Astute-class nuclear submarines. Australia, Britain and the US agreed the AUKUS Pact in 2021 to provide Australia with nuclear-powered attack submarines from the next decade to counter China's ambitions in the Indo-Pacific.
The Geelong Treaty represents one of the most significant treaties between Australia and the United Kingdom that has been signed since Federation. What this treaty will do is underpin the way in which both our countries develop a class of submarine that we will jointly operate. It's a treaty which will last for 50 years.
It is a treaty that will support tens of thousands of jobs in both Australia and the UK. It is a treaty to build the most advanced, most powerful attack submarines either of our nations have ever had. It is a treaty that will fortify the Indo-Pacific, it will strengthen NATO.
Now, Taiwan opposition lawmakers survived a major recall election on Saturday, thwarting a bid to oust one-fifth of the island's parliamentarians, a move supporters had hoped would send a message to China, but that opponents called an assault on democracy. All recalled votes against 24 lawmakers from the largest opposition party, the Kuomintang, were rejected, according to live vote counts by Taiwanese media. The voting followed a campaign begun by civic groups. The election result is a blow to President La Ching-tei's Democratic Progressive Party, which has missed an opportunity to reshape the Taiwan legislature and regain its majority. The government said the island's largest ever recall vote had faced unprecedented election interference by China, which claims the democratically governed island as its own, a claim Taiwan rejects. Recall votes for 7 other KMT lawmakers will be held on August 23rd. In Bolivia, the leader of the Pan Bol party, Ruth Nina, was transferred to a women's prison on Saturday, where she must serve a 90-day preventive detention sentence. She is also an ally of former Bolivian President Evo Morales. The Bolivian justice system ruled that Nina must serve her sentence during an ongoing investigation. The probe concerns statements she made at an event in Cochabamba. There she warned that the August 17 elections could bring fatalities instead of votes if the Supreme Electoral Tribunal failed to approve Morales' candidacy. Before entering the women's prison in Cochabamba, Ruth Nina declared that it was an honor to enter the prison. Morales supporters have declared they would mobilize if the tribunal does not register him as a candidate, warning that the elections would not be democratic without him. Moving on, demonstrators filled the streets of Mexico City to protest against gentrification, that is displacing locals and limiting access to housing for lower income residents. It was the third such demonstration in recent months as housing policies continue to favor real estate developers. Over the past 3 years, housing prices in Mexico City have more than doubled, fueled by luxury real estate developments and an influx of wealthier domestic and foreign residents. Long-time locals have increasingly been priced out of their neighborhoods, marching along Insurgentes Avenue in the city's southern district under a heavy police presence. Residents chanted slogans and carried banners calling for an end to government-backed luxury developments and rising rents. Hundreds of police officers in anti-riot gear lined the route. And thousands of people rallied in the Malaysian capital to demand the resignation of Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim amid growing anger over rising prices, alleged corruption, which has sharply affected middle and lower income households. The protests began with demonstrators marching through the heart of Kuala Lumpur before converging at the city's historic Independence Square. The rally, organized by opposition groups, drew a crowd of at least 18,000 people. Many also criticized what they see as the government's failure to deliver on promise of transparency and reform that Anwar pledged when he came to power. Now, Colombia has criticized Ecuador for deporting large numbers of Colombian citizens without a formal protocol, describing it as an unfriendly gesture. While Quito said the removals followed legal procedures and upheld human rights standards. Earlier this week, the Colombian government reported that authorities in the neighboring country had announced plans to deport Colombians currently imprisoned in various Ecuadorian penitentiaries. The ministry emphasized that Ecuador had taken this action without implementing any protocol to guarantee the safe, orderly and respectful transfer of detainees in line with their human rights. Ecuador's foreign ministry said in a statement it had notified Colombia via diplomatic channels of individual deportation proceedings starting July 8 and that the process followed the country's legal framework. Now, North Korea celebrated the anniversary of Korean War armistice in a video published by North's official news agency KCNA. On Saturday, students were seen dancing as fireworks lit up the sky at Kim Il-sung Square. North Korea signed an armistice agreement with the United States and China on July 27, 1953, ending the fighting in the three-year war. U.S. generals signed the agreement, representing the United Nations forces that backed South Korea. North Korea called July 27 Victory Day, even though the armistice drew a border dividing the Korean peninsula roughly equally in area and restoring balance after the two sides had made major advances back and forth during the war. In United States, at least 11 people were injured in a stabbing at a Walmart store in the Midwestern state of Michigan. A heavy police presence was seen outside Walmart in Traverse City and a suspect was in custody. Though there is currently no update on their conditions, Grand Traverse County Sheriff Michael Shea said the suspect was armed with a folding knife and appeared to have targeted victims at random. In a statement on X, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer said he is in touch with law enforcement about the news and he condemned this brutal act of violence. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth hosted a quadrilateral meeting with Baltic defense ministers in the Pentagon earlier this week, stressing NATO's military spending target of 5% GDP. In a post on X, Hegseth said he met Minister Pevkur from Estonia, Minister Spruth from Latvia and Minister Sakhalin from Lithuania in Pentagon. They discussed President Trump's historic success in bringing the NATO alliance together behind 5% defense spending pledge at the Hague summit, which the Baltic states are on track to hit in the next year. He also thanked Baltic defense ministers for their support towards their shared objective. European leaders said they are ready to step up on security, having pledged big increases in military spending at a NATO summit last week. The new NATO target includes a core component for defense spending, which must reach 3.5% of GDP by 2035, and a further element on broader security-related investments worth 1.5%, though Spain has been reluctant to commit to that level of funding. A Southwest Airlines flight plunged mid-air on Friday to avoid colliding with another aircraft while en route to Las Vegas, injuring 2 flight attendants. Minutes after taking off from Burbank, California, the flight dropped by hundreds of feet, according to flight tracking websites. The pilot of Southwest Flight 1496 told passengers the maneuver was needed to avoid colliding with another plane. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said it was investigating the incident. According to Southwestern Airlines statement, no customers were reported to be injured. The incident raises further questions about aviation safety in the United States following a series of accidents and near misses in recent months. Now onto some weather updates. We'll start with India. Torrential monsoon rains continue to lash several Indian states, leading to flooding, landslides, road blockages and evacuation efforts across many states. In the north, very heavy rainfall is likely to lash Uttarakhand on Sunday, while Himachal Pradesh and western Uttar Pradesh are expected to experience similar conditions on Monday. IMD has issued a yellow alert for Mumbai, Palghar and Thane districts of Maharashtra for Sunday. A high tide alert has also been issued for Mumbai. Madhya Pradesh is likely to receive extremely heavy rainfall on Sunday. The weather office said a similar alert has been issued for parts of Gujarat where very intense showers are expected. Down south, isolated heavy rainfall is forecast over Tamil Nadu on Sunday and Kerala over the next 4 days. And in Odisha's Bhadrak district, the Baitarani river crossed the danger level at Akuapada, prompting flood warnings for Jaipur and Bhadrak. Local authorities remain on alert as more rain is expected. And heavy rain around Beijing and across north and northeast China has killed 2 and forced thousands to relocate as authorities warned of further widespread rain and risk of disasters including landslides and flooding. China's Water Resources Ministry has issued targeted flood warnings to 11 provinces and regions including Beijing and neighbouring Hebei for floods from small and mid-sized rivers and mountain torrents. Beijing issued a warning on Saturday for geological disasters including landslides and mudslides after intense rainfall unleashed for a second time a year's worth of rain on nearby Baoding. Northern China has experienced record precipitation in recent years, exposing densely populated cities including Beijing to flood risk. Some scientists link the increased rainfall in China's usually arid north to global warming. La Union province in the Philippines declared a state of calamity amid severe impacts of Typhoon Ko-May, which made landfall twice near the province. Typhoon Ko-May, the 8th typhoon of the year, made the first landfall on Thursday night in the town of Agno in Panganisian province in the Philippines, with winds reaching speeds up to 120 kilometers per hour. La Union province, located right between the two landfall locations, was greatly affected by the typhoon. Continuous rainfall has delayed repairs, forcing technicians to wait for clearer weather. Several streets in the city's downtown area were flooded, disrupting local traffic. Around a heavy afternoon rain triggered flash flooding in the mountain village, closing roads and prompting the rescue of at least 5 people trapped by fast-moving water. On July 9, flash floods in Ruidoso killed at least 3 people, including 2 young children, and trapped dozens in homes and vehicles. Ruidoso, a popular summer retreat as well as ski resort nestled in the Sierra Blanca mountain range of south-central New Mexico, is located about 185 kilometers south of Albuquerque, the state's largest city. Strong winds fueled widespread wildfires across Kosovo, with authorities managing to extinguish 17 blazes while 12 others remained active. Devastating wildfires swept through southern Kosovo, causing significant damage to property and livestock. Firefighters in Suha-Reka battled another large blaze that threatened homes and scorched a vast area of land. Separate fire in eastern Kosovo killed around 40 cattle. In the northern part of the country, a NATO helicopter was deployed to drop water in an effort to contain yet another wildfire. Authorities have urged the public to avoid lighting fires outdoors as high temperatures and strong winds continue to elevate the risk of further outbreaks. Albania's defense ministry dispatched 90 soldiers and 2 helicopters on Saturday to assist in containing a series of wildfires in the northeastern Bulqiza municipality as blazes intensified across the region. Over 20 fires erupted in Bulqiza and Klozi Matit on Saturday afternoon, fueled by strong winds and soaring temperatures, which have scorched hundreds of hectares of pine forests and pastures. 6 villages were evacuated and a church and 10 uninhabited houses were destroyed by the blaze. The fire's intensity eased in the evening after 2 helicopters were deployed to assist firefighting efforts. Massive plumes of smoke filled the skies above Kaithera Island as wildfire swept across parts of southern Greece, forcing evacuations and prompting fresh concerns of the country's worsening fire seasons. Authorities ordered the evacuation of 3 villages as flames approached residential areas. Emergency services worked through the day to contain the blaze while temperatures soared under Greece's third major heat wave of the summer. The Greek National Weather Service reported that temperatures could reach up to 44 degrees Celsius, creating extremely dangerous conditions for firefighting and increasing the risk of new ignitions. So far, no injuries have been reported, but damage assessments are ongoing. Firefighters remain on high alert as dry conditions and strong winds threaten to spread the flames further. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. 1 year after the rainy opening ceremony of the Paris 2024 Olympics, the hot air balloon that carried the cauldron lifted off once again from the Tuileries Gardens. The balloon was used as the Olympic cauldron during the Games. Due to popular demand, the balloon was returned to the Tuileries Gardens, where since late June it has been rising into the air at sunset every evening. Every year on July 26, San Diego Comic-Con becomes a colorful celebration of fandom as attendees shed their everyday attire and step into the roles of their favorite sci-fi and fantasy characters. The event continues to grow each other, reflecting the global impact of pop culture. The International Equestrian Rally Galops 2025 took place in the northeast of Kyrgyzstan. The race began in the village of Kuzat, around 3,000 meters above sea level. The Galops are an international event, gathers some 1,000 horse riders from all over the world and from all equestrian riding backgrounds. A 4-wheel-legged robotic dog was showcased at the World Artificial Intelligence Conference. The robotic dog is also able to climb up and down steps and walk upright, permitting it to navigate complex environments in an agile manner. The dog can also do backflips. The system has drawn close attention from the global AI community. Industry analysts view it as a direct competitor to NVIDIA's real-time large language model. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi remains the most trusted leader in the world, once again tops the latest global list of democratic leader approval ratings. Second round of India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement negotiations concludes in New Delhi, third round in September. And India sends 5 metric ton of black-eyed cowpea seeds to Fiji to aid agricultural production.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. IST today. It will be the 124th episode of the monthly radio program. The program will be broadcast across the entire All India and Doordarshan network, the AIR News website and the News On Air mobile app. It will also be live streamed on the YouTube channels of AIR News, DD News, the PMO and the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And on Saturday, soon after returning from his two-nation visit, Prime Minister Modi laid the foundation stone and inaugurated and dedicated to the nation various development projects worth over Rs 4,800 crore at a public event at Toothukudi in Tamil Nadu on Saturday. These landmark projects across multiple sectors will significantly enhance regional connectivity, boost logistics efficiency, strengthen clean energy infrastructure and improve the quality of life for citizens across Tamil Nadu. Addressing the gathering, PM Modi said that all the projects will make Thoothukudi and Tamil Nadu a hub of connectivity, clean energy and new opportunities.
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और एनर्जी ये किसी भी स्टेट के डेवलपमेंट की बैकबोन होते हैं। इन 11 इयर्स में इंफ्रा और एनर्जी पर हमारा फोकस ये बताता है कि तमिलनाडु का विकास हमारी कितनी बड़ी प्रायोरिटी है। आज की सभी परियोजनाएं भी थूथुकुडी और तमिलनाडु को कनेक्टिविटी, क्लीन एनर्जी और नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज का हब बनाएगी।
In line with his commitment to developing world-class air infrastructure and enhancing connectivity, Prime Minister Modi also inaugurated the new terminal building at Tuticorin Airport, developed at a cost of around ₹450 crore, designed to meet the growing aviation demands of the southern region. PM Modi also undertook a walkthrough of the new terminal building. On day 2 of Tamil Nadu visit, Prime Minister Modi to release a commemorative coin honouring one of the greatest emperors of India, Rajendra Chol I, celebrating Adi Thiruvati Rai festival during a public event at Gangaikonda Cholpuram temple. This special celebration also commemorates 1000 years of the legendary maritime expedition of Rajendra Chol I to Southeast Asia and the commencement of the construction of iconic Gangaikonda Cholpuram temple, a magnificent example of Chol architecture. Prime Minister Modi has once again topped the latest global list of democratic leader approval ratings with a 75% approval score, according to data released by US-based business intelligence firm Morning Consult. PM Narendra Modi was followed by South Korean President Lee Jae-myung at 59%. PM Modi remains the most trusted leader in the world.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's popularity remains unwaning as he continues to remain the world's most trusted leader with 75% approval ratings, according to the data by Morning Consult Global Leader Approval Tracker.
फिर एक बार विश्व के सबसे लोकप्रिय नेता के रूप में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का नाम फर्स्ट रैंक पर आया है। मॉर्निंग कंसल्ट के इंटरनेशनल सर्वे में उनके प्रति लोगों में विश्वास है। 27 अभी तक उनको अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सम्मान मिल चुके हैं।
Union Minister Sarbananda Sonowal posted on X, once again, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tops the Morning Consult Global Leader Approval Tracker, emerging as the world's most trusted and highest rated leader, backed by over 1 billion Indians, admired across continents. His strong, decisive leadership ensures Bharat's rise and the world's respect. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung emerged as the second most popular democratic leader in the world, with 59% of those surveyed giving him a thumbs up. US President Donald Trump, who returned to power with strong mandate last year, came in at number 8. Prime Minister Modi has held the top position in Morning Consult Global Leader Approval Tracker since 2021, when his rating was 70%. Bureau Report, DD India.
And the second round of negotiations for India and New Zealand Free Trade Agreement concluded in New Delhi, further advancing the shared objective of strengthening bilateral trade and economic partnerships. The FTA was launched during the meeting between Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal and his New Zealand counterpart on March 16, 2025. The third round of negotiations is scheduled to be held in New Zealand in September 2025. India's bilateral merchandise trade with New Zealand reached $1.3 billion in financial year 2024-25, recording a growth of 48.6% over the previous financial year, signaling the growing potential of the economic partnership. The FTA is expected to enhance trade flows, support investment linkages, promote supply chain resilience, and establish a predictable and enabling environment for businesses in both countries. All right, news just coming in. A stampede took place at Mansa Devi Temple in Haridwar on Sunday, where 6 people died in the incident while several others have been injured. The incident took place as a huge crowd gathered at the temple in the city. Gadwal Division Commissioner Vinay Shankar Pandey said a detailed report of the incident is awaited. Rescue and relief operation is underway and more details are awaited. So this is the breaking news that we are tracking. A stampede took place at Mansa Devi Temple in Haridwar today, where 6 people died in the incident while several others have also been injured. The reason that we can tell you is a huge crowd gathered at the temple in the city, and Gadwal Division Commissioner Vinay Shankar Pandey said a detailed report of the incident is still underway. And Chief of Integrated Defence Staff Air Marshal Ashutosh Dikshit is on a visit to Australia till 28 July, witnessing 11th edition of ongoing exercise Talisman Sabre. A multilateral training activity led by the Australian Defence Force and the United States Armed Forces is likely to see participation from 19 nations. 6 officers from Indian Armed Forces are participating in TS25 as staff planners at various levels of joint operation planning, control, safety and logistics. Indian officers have earlier participated in 2021 and 2023 as observers. During his visit, the CISA is scheduled to engage with senior military leaders from the Armed Forces of Australia and other participating nations and witness various training activities planned under TS25. Now, India has dispatched a consignment of 10 tons of humanitarian assistance to the people of Somalia in a significant gesture of international solidarity towards the African nation, which had been grappling with an escalating crisis amid internal conflict, climate shocks and economic hardships. According to the Ministry of External Affairs, the consignment comprises a variety of critical medical supplies, including essential medicines, surgical items, hospital essentials and biomedical equipment. The packages were also prominently marked with the Indian national flag and the label "Gift from the People and Government of India." Somalia is currently experiencing the effects of La Nina, which is projected to persist until at least mid-2025. This is causing dry spells and below average rainfall. 6 million people will require immediate life-saving humanitarian aid and protection in 2025. India also dispatched a tranche of 5 metric tons of black-eyed cow pea seeds to Fiji on Saturday in a significant boost to agricultural collaboration with its Pacific partner in the Indo-Pacific region. The Government of India has supported Fiji's nation-building efforts across multiple sectors, especially in human resource development and capacity building. Now, India marks the 10th death anniversary of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the 11th President and the revered missile man of India. A scientist, educator and President, Dr. Kalam's life reflected service, simplicity and an unshakable belief in the power of youth. His contributions to India's space and defence sectors and his deep commitment to education continue to inspire millions across generations and backgrounds. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid homage to former President APJ Abdul Kalam. Taking to X, PM Modi said, and I quote him here, "On his death anniversary, paying homage to our beloved former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he is remembered as an inspiring visionary, outstanding scientist, mentor and a great patriot. His dedication to our nation was exemplary. His thoughts motivate the youth of India to contribute towards building a developed and strong India." Unquote. Sports updates now. We'll start with chess. The opening game of the FIDE Women's Chess World Cup final between Indian stars Humpy and Divya ended in a draw on Saturday. The game delivered an intense and intricate battle between Humpy and Deshmukh, marking a historic All-Indian Championship clash which ended in a hard-fought draw after 41 moves in Batumi, Georgia. With the match level at 0.5 each, the final continues on Sunday with Game 2 starting at 4:45 p.m. IST. Should there not be a winner by Sunday evening, the fate of the World Cup will come down to tie breaks on Monday. Now, India captain Shubman Gill and opener KL Rahul rescued their team from 0-2 to take them to 174 for 2 at stumps on day 4 of the 4th Test against England at Old Trafford. After losing the wickets of Yashasvi Jaiswal and B. Sai Sudarshan for ducks in the very first over of the second innings, Gill and Rahul both slammed half-centuries to keep India's hopes of saving the Test alive. India trailed England by 137 runs at stumps after the latter piled up the highest ever Test total at Old Trafford, making 669, led by Ben Stokes' sensational 141. Gill crossed Virat Kohli's record of the most runs by an Indian captain in a Test series, while also becoming the first Asian batter to score 650 runs in a Test series in England. It sets up a decisive day 5 where India must save the match to prevent England from clinching the series. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday extended his heartfelt greetings to the Central Reserve Police Force on its 87th Raising Day, praising the force for its significant contributions to the nation's security. Acknowledging the CRPF's unwavering role in safeguarding the country, PM Modi took to X and wrote, "Raising Day wishes to all CRPF personnel. This force has played a pivotal role in our security apparatus, especially in challenging aspects relating to internal security. CRPF personnel have made a mark for their duty, courage and steadfast commitment in the most testing of situations. Their contribution in overcoming humanitarian challenges is also commendable." Union Home Minister Amit Shah also extended his greetings to CRPF personnel on the occasion. In a post to Next, he said, "Heartfelt greetings to all CRPF personnel on their Raising Day. Your selfless sacrifice have been the backbone of our nation's security, and your unwavering courage to end Naxalism is truly commendable. Time and again, you have stood fearlessly on the front lines, standing tall against every adversity with fearless resolve. A proud salute to the martyrs of CRPF. Your legacy of valor continues to inspire the nation." And from counter-insurgency operations to election security and VIP protection, the CRPF remains the nation's formidable backbone in ensuring internal peace and order. Our report. Formed on July 27, 1939 as the Crown Representatives Police, the force was initially tasked with quelling disturbances in princely states. Over the decades, it has transformed into one of the most seasoned and respected paramilitary forces in the country, now called the CRPF. With 6 all-women battalions, a first among India's paramilitary ranks, CRPF continues to set benchmarks in inclusive security. The first such unit, the 88M Battalion, was formed in 1986 and is headquartered in New Delhi. These battalions play a vital role in managing sensitive situations with empathy, strength and precision. Its expertise in VIP protection is second to none. From union ministers and chief ministers to spiritual leaders and bureaucrats, CRPF's elite security wing ensures safety with uncompromising professionalism. One of CRPF's most decorated units, the Cobra or Commando Battalion for Resolute Action, is tailored for guerrilla and jungle warfare, especially against Maoist insurgents. With over 10 Cobra units deployed in left-wing extremism zones, their operations have led to a 70% decline in Maoist violence over the past decade. The Rapid Action Force, formed in 1992, is another specialized wing within CRPF. Trained to respond to riots and civil unrest with restraint and resolve, RAF has often been the first responder in times of internal crisis. Be it maintaining peace in Kashmir, ensuring fair elections across the nation, or reclaiming areas once under insurgent control, the CRPF remains a steadfast guardian of India's democratic fabric. Behind the uniforms are stories of courage, sacrifice and relentless duty. Whether battling terrorists in the valley, restoring calm in the northeast, or rebuilding lives in conflict zones, the men and women of CRPF embody their motto: service and loyalty. Bureau Report, DD India. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.